Good evening. After 2 days of cancellation, delays and disruption for rail passengers, the strike by Southern Rail workers has been suspended. But it will be days before things get back to normal, and even then it will still be a reduced timetable, as Phil Hornby now explains.
It's not exactly time for Southern passengers to crack open the champagne, but it is perhaps a glimmer in the gloom.
It's far better to talk than to strike, so yes, good news that they're talking. Let's hope they reach a resolution.
If the government back down, or if Southern Rail back down, then it just opens up a whole new ball game for everybody else to do the same.
So it's reduced service, so it's back to normal then.
On the train! Keep the guards! On the train! Keep the guards!
Day 3 of the strike had begun with an early morning protest outside the Department for Transport in London. The RMT noisily claiming the government was sabotaging peace talks.
Well, we suspect that there is massive government interference.
Are you saying the government are preventing a solution?
I suspect that's the case. We thought.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. I mean, there is a political agenda here as to probably because they want to slap the unions down.
150 miles away at a train manufacturer's in Derby, the new Transport Secretary was doing just that.
Well, I think the RMT, frankly, are being utterly thoughtless about their passengers, their customers.
Back in London, the first hint that the strike could be called off.
We know that passengers are sick of the war of words between GTR and the RMT. They want us to get round the negotiating table and solve the problems. Unfortunately, GTR put preconditions into those discussions going forward. So we're now saying to GTR, if you remove those preconditions and agree to fresh discussions at ACAS, we will suspend industrial action plan for Thursday and Friday of this week to allow those talks to go ahead. The ball's now in their court. I hope they don't mess it up.
We got ready to head to London Bridge to talk to Charles Horton, the boss of Southern Rail, with this message from the RMT leader.
He's got my number, tell him to pick up the phone and talk to me.
We didn't get chance. At London Bridge, we were told our interview was delayed, then cancelled. A familiar feeling for anyone who travels on Southern. While we were waiting, Southern and the RMT were talking to the arbitration service ACAS. Talks there got nowhere last week. But then it was announced the strike's being suspended and talks will resume tomorrow. The two sides are not that far apart. Southern say trains will almost always have a conductor on board, but there might be the odd occasion when they don't. The RMT say there must be no almost about it. If there's no conductor, a train must not run. That's the argument they'll be hammering out here tomorrow. But as they talk at ACAS, rail services won't be back to normal till Friday. And even then, normal, of course, means Southern's emergency revised timetable. Phil Hornby, ITV News, London.
Well, the reality is the delays are likely to continue for some time yet. And as travel expert Simon Calder explains, this is a wider issue about the modernisation of the railways.
There is one key issue at the heart of this, and the union can say it's all about safety, the management can say it's all about customer service. Of course, commuters simply couldn't care a hoot who opens and closes the door. They just want a reliable service. But actually, at the heart of it is kind of the modernisation of the railways. And I think that both sides have chosen to make this the battleground for a much wider debate about the future of the railways and the efficiencies in it and the service that the travelling public gets.
Dramatic footage has been captured of a cliff fall on the Isle of Wight when tons of earth fell onto a popular beach. The landslip happened at the headland between Compton Bay and Brook Bay, as Dave Russell explains.
Returning to the idyllic beach where he could have so easily have been killed. Phil Baldwin was searching for fossils at cliffs near freshwater when part of the cliff face started to crumble.
Some gravel and dirt started to come down, so sort of instinct told me probably best to move back. I got to the shoreline just a few metres over there behind us. Still had the phone in my hand, put it onto video mode, and just as I started recording, a lot more gravel came down, followed by the entire cliff point, so quite a shock.
This latest collapse comes just months after another landslip on the south coast. In April, a large section of 100-foot cliffs at Bournemouth's East Cliff collapsed, damaging the railway and destroying a toilet block.
Heavy rainfall, for example, followed by very quick drying in hot, sunny weather conditions will make things particularly dangerous. and we recommend to everybody to stay away from the bottom of cliffs as much as possible.
Phil Baldwin says he feels lucky it was just his life that was jeopardised by the tons of rock that fell.
I had my son with me. He decided to stay in the water with my girlfriend and her son, so I'm very pleased he didn't come with me, because the first thing he does instinctively is dig in the cliff. So coming back today, I didn't realise how close we actually were. Luckily there's some dog walkers just on the other side who also cleverly walked back far enough. So yeah, a bit of a shock to see so much come down.
This is a popular spot for many fossil hunters, with many tours here each day. The Coast Guard have issued a standard warning, though, not to approach the cliff or sit under it. Also, if you're on top of the cliff, avoid getting too near the edge. Dave Russell, ITV News, on the Isle of Wight.
An infestation of cockroaches has closed an Indian restaurant at Port Solent. The Rim Jim restaurant has been fined £6,000 following an inspection by Portsmouth City Council. Cockroaches were found in dirty dishes in the sink, and a chicken was defrosting in a bucket. A World War II bomb has been destroyed off the coast of Sussex. It was one of 2 devices found on the seabed along the cable route for the new Rampion wind farm. On to sport, and sailors from the south are still on track for a gold medal in the first week of the Olympics. Nick Dempsey from Weymouth is still on track for a gold medal. If he wins, he'll become the most successful male windsurfer of all time. He achieved bronze in Athens and silver in London and is currently leading by just 1 point. But Bryony Shaw was knocked back by a plastic bag. She was in second place until this bag got wrapped around her fin. Pollution is a major problem in Rio.
One of the big challenges for a sport like sailing in any major city, is always pollution. And if you like, the great thing is the Games does bring that awareness on the hosts each time.
Meanwhile, the Duke of Edinburgh was in Cowes today to recognise the achievements of one local company. Spinlock provides equipment to 25 countries, and today the Duke presented them with the Queen's Award for Enterprise. Sally Simmons was there.
The Duke of Edinburgh arrived at the Spinlock factory, greeted by Chief Executive Chris Hill. Prince Philip presented a Queen's Award for Enterprise to the Cowes company with a 40-year history here. The Duke's affection for the Isle of Wight goes back decades. In 1949, he began sailing with the late yacht designer Arthur Fox. The Royal Yacht Britannia was moored at Cowes Week for over 40 years. And Prince Philip raced yeoman through to the 1990s. But today he shared his extensive sailing knowledge, asking insightful questions about new technology at Spinlock. One of the most innovative products is used by Ben Ainsley and the crew of Land Rover BAR. Spinlock have combined a buoyancy aid and a rash vest so that it's completely streamlined.
I think he was fascinated by our move from hardware products, things that you control the sails with, into a completely different area. And I think he was really pleased to see that we've been able to grow the company a lot on the back of that.
We didn't know what to expect, and then we just took his lead, and he just went around and involved everyone and was, really interested. It was great. Better than I could have expected. It was lovely.
Prince Philip has spent 3 days on the island, keeping a close eye on the racing as well as the ropes. Sally Simmons, ITV News, Cowes.
Well, finally tonight, a dog that spent 4 days wedged in a 9-inch gap has been reunited with the firefighters who rescued him. The Welsh Terrier was found stuck between 2 walls in a neighbour's home. It took fire crews hours to free him.
From my angle, I could see he couldn't move forwards or backwards because it was so tight. We thought if we could look from above, then we'll be able to get a better view, maybe even have to cut away some roof to lift him out vertically. But when they pulled the pipe out, it was like a door opening and he just managed to wiggle his way forwards. Luckily, he was so thin by then, he could get out.
Tears all round, it was great. He was really thirsty, really dusty. It was a lovely sort of moment, really. It was a really happy ending.
Amazing. Now let's get the weather details from Amanda Houston.
From cold fronts to camping, driving through Europe, Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
Hello and a very good evening to you. Well, as we go through the rest of tonight, that cloud will continue to build, so we might just see 1 or 2 light showers in places. Though for most of us, it will be dry and nowhere near as cold as recent nights. Those temperatures staying above 13 degrees. So for tomorrow morning, quite a gloomy start to the day at first with the odd spot of rain in places, but the good news is it is an improving story. So as the morning goes on and into the afternoon, the cloud will start to break up, sunny spells developing especially across the south coast, and here it's going to feel rather warm. We're looking at highs there at 23 degrees. Bye-bye.
Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
And that is all from us. We are back tomorrow at 6, but from me and from all of us here on the Late Team tonight, thanks for your company. Good night.